So you want to know something cool that I realized? And I don't know. I know there's people that know probably already know, but I didn't realize it, and it just kind of hit me. Let me see if I can find it. You have apelin, diplin, and hydrapyl,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the other one, the other two, right? Hydrapyl is like the new one, right? You know what I realized that they are?
Apples.
No. Well, you know they're dragons, right?
Yeah.
Or they're dragon type.
Yeah.
They're worms.
Yeah.
Like WYRM.
Yeah.
But they're like apple worms.
Yeah.
Like WERM.
Yeah.
It just hit me, and I thought that was so clever. Because I used to think they were a bad design, you know? I was like, apple dragons? Like, seriously? But they're like worms. Like the dragon worm.
Play on worms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I just learned it. Or I didn't learn, like I didn't see a video, but it just kind of like clicked. I was like, I think someone said worm, and I was like, worm. And then it hit me. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a new and continuing podcast of Born2BNerd. My name is Lance.
My name is Ethan.
We are doing part 2 of our retelling or just our journey and experience with our trip to Japan last month. Last episode, we talked about Osaka and Kyoto, which were probably the biggest hitters of our 3-stop what you call it? The golden
tour is like what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely where I felt the most connection to Japan.
Yeah. You know, I forgot to tell you, you know what I've been doing this week? I found this channel
in Japan.
Yeah. I found this channel. So I've been playing like games while I've been off. And I found this channel called Ambient Exploration. That's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, where'd you go? It's a channel where this guy straps on a GoPro and he just walks through villages or cities in Japan.
Yeah.
He does other countries too, but like I've been watching his Japan videos where he's like, it's like a morning in Osaka and he's just walking through the neighborhoods and the city of Osaka. It's all quiet, just like when we were getting up and going out for coffee and stuff.
Yeah.
And he just does that for 2 hours, you know, like 1.5, 2 hours. So I've been playing games and just putting on his walks. And it's just like, he walked through Kyoto and is like going through some temples and stuff. And it's just like, you hear the birds chirping or whatever, the wind. I watched one yesterday that was going through Kyoto in the snow. Bro. I was like, I remember the crunch.
I was there.
Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that. I don't know what you call it, but I miss it.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't watched the first one or listened to the first episode, part 1, you should go back and listen to that one and then come back and listen to this one. But if you have listened to the last one, buckle in.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to Osaka first, spent 4 days or 3 days.
It was 4 days there.
4 days. And then we took the Shinkansen for like 10 minutes back to Kyoto. Was in Kyoto for 3 days, right?
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah. And then the long Shinkansen back to Tokyo, which I want to talk about that trip. Yeah. Because that was, I think what I've told people is that I had a great time on the trip, but the most fun I had was on that Shinkansen back to Tokyo.
Okay. So let's start with the Shinkansen then.
Yeah.
We did things differently on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
On the way there, we were all jet lagged, and I don't know. Like I got up and moved around a little bit on the one there, but I also just tried to sleep as best I could on the way to Osaka. On the way back, we were all rested up, and we had been in Japan for a while, so we were feeling a little like more adventurous and like willing to, like explore, I guess. And so me and you both got up. Yeah, pretty early on.
Yeah, almost immediately. Once we kind of got going and realized no one else was getting on the train and we could kind of move around freely.
Yeah, and you were on the aisle too. I know I was on the aisle on that, and I was like, I don't want to just sit on the aisle.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna get up and walk around. And then I was just like, oh, I could just take pictures from this vantage point in the middle of the trains, you know, as opposed to trying to get over the girl that was sitting next to me, or, you know, Jeff was on your side. So trying to get like pictures through the little porthole window. It's like, oh, well, we'll just stand in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you've never seen Shinkansen or bullet train, right? We can call it. It's
Yeah,
also
you
the
can call
bullet
it bullet
train.
train. Tomato, potato.
If you don't know, there's these main cars which have these looks like it's kind of like a plane car. It's like two seats, like rows of two seats. They're very comfortable. The seats go way back if you want to just chill and sleep or whatever. They have little table trays just like an airplane. But then there's these connecting cars, which that's how you load on and off. But there's also bathrooms. There's some private rooms if you need to do
There's
some
like
office
extra
work.
storage there for your
Extra
like for
storage.
bags and stuff too.
Yeah. There was like a family room, like a changing room, just kind of like a multi-purpose room. And the doors that we load on and off of have these big windows. So that's what we used as our kind of main window to the outside. And I could do a whole podcast on my photography journey,
Yeah.
but I just want to like kind of explain my experience with that, because when I was in high school, I was extremely into photography. Me and a group of my friends would go on what we called adventures every weekend, where we would just drive to different parts of, you know, our city, the cities around us or whatever, and just like get lost and then take pictures of what we found, you know. But I lost touch of that, you know. And then you gave me your camera shortly before the trip, and I brought it with me. And slowly throughout the trip, I got more comfortable with it. Got more comfortable with using photography, you know, techniques and things like that again. And so by the time we got on that Shinkansen, I was feeling really good with it, you know. And so I was eager to, with the scenery, the beautiful scenery that we were getting, I was eager to try to snap some shots of the landscapes and stuff. So that's what we did. Me and you hopped into that main car. You took one window, I took the other.
Yeah.
And we switched a couple of times. Like I remember I did switch the windows a couple of times because like it was weird how sometimes the views were completely different.
Yeah. You have like these crazy industrial areas on one side, and literally on the at the same time, on the exact opposite side of the train, it was nothing but like mountains or farmland, or, you know, it was just like the complete juxtaposition of what the other vantage point was. So, I mean, that alone is, if you're a photographer, dude, like don't even think about it. Just go to the middle of the trains or in the middle of the cars and just take that vantage point, because you're going to get so much.
We were in that, I was in that room, me specifically. I don't know how long you stayed in there because I was lost in the sauce, but I was in that car for 2 hours with my music playing and my camera in hand. Just, I mean, I had everything on manual. And so I had the lens in my hand, and I was just like making micro adjustments and like zooming in and out and like auto, like focusing in. And I was just going crazy for 2 hours. And man, it was an incredible exercise. My hands were like so sore by the end of it. But
well,
it was
also too, like, you know, when you get up to like Fuji, that was the only time that I had other people in the car with me, in that middle part of the cars, other than me and you. When like the photo opportunity for Fuji came up, like obviously a bunch of people came to those windows and those parts of the cars to try to get photos as well, which is like understandable. But that was like, I mean, that legitimately was maybe 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was
of
fast.
the entire train ride back. Like it was so fast. And that was just like when I don't even know, did the guy even come over the intercom? Did the conductor say something about like, okay, Fuji's going to be on the left or whatever?
No, I don't remember.
But it was really short. So I mean, it's just when like everyone was like, oh, you can actually, like, you can see Fuji, like you can really see it. Everyone came out, but you could see it for like 15 minutes before, 10 minutes before, and then like 5 to 10 minutes after. you could still see Fuji.
Yeah.
And
Just
so
not the golden angles.
yeah. But I mean, you're able to play around with it and get a bunch of different foreground.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was other mountains or whether it was the cityscapes that were in front of it from different vantage points. Like it was so sick. So
Yeah.
if you're into photography, like don't worry, like it's not going to get crowded. There's going to be like the one little part that maybe a lot of people are in the car with you, but other than that, if you like your space, if you like your alone time and your silence, and you're just trying to zen out and like get into flow state a little bit and just like really immerse yourself in that experience, it's perfect for that. Like I think.
And also, if you just like looking at scenery, like even if I didn't have the camera, I probably would have just sat in that window and just stared out the window because it was just gorgeous. What was really cool about it was how when we left Kyoto, right, we had gotten all that snow. And so it was just, like I remember there was that small part right outside of Kyoto where it was like almost 2 feet of snow.
Oh yeah.
Like it was so much snow in that mountain area we went through. And so we got like, it was like heavy snow, and then there was actual like snowfall that we were catching, and then it died down a little bit. So it's just kind of a snow covered landscape. And then like this landscape where the snow's starting to melt as we're getting closer to Tokyo, and then no snow.
Dude,
So
do you remember like the first time that we like, because I mean there was a little bit of snow, and maybe I think it was because it was like super dense, like where we were coming out of Kyoto. Like not the snow was dense, but like it was a lot of like buildings, and the area was just like very populated with like a bunch of stuff. And I don't know if I got a picture of it. I'll look and see. If I do, I'll put it in. See if you got one. But like there's a part where it goes and it's like it's really condensed and shit. And then we went into a tunnel, and we came out of the tunnel, and it was just like open field of like just white that led all the way up to the mountains. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I mean, it was so unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, it was stunning. It was, like I said, that was the most fun I had on the trip because I was so engaged with what I was seeing, trying to like capture it, I was focused on, when I was adjusting my camera, I'm like, okay, I want to catch like what's in front. I want to catch what's behind. I'm looking at the mountains. I'm looking at the sunlight. I'm looking at the snow. I was just so engaged with what, that 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was a brain exercise to work on those techniques. It was a visual exercise to try to like see, photo opportunities. And it was so fun. I had a great time doing that. And I did get some cool pictures. I think I swapped. It was cool because there was one moment where the side that I was on mostly, the mountain came right up to the windows of the train for a while. So there was nothing there. So I went to the other side, and it's like mountains going into the ocean. So I'm just like, okay, yeah. So I'm just snapping shots of this. There was a part where a Ferris wheel came into view, and I tried to get pictures of this Ferris wheel on the mountain with some snow. But the train's moving very fast. So,
and I don't think we talked about it in the last one, but I tell you something that like is very shocking when you experience it for the first time is when the two bullet trains pass each other.
Oh yeah,
dude. Yeah, man. Yeah. Especially because there are a couple times where I'm like through my viewfinder, and I'm like right up against the glass, and it's just wow. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so funny. Every time that happened, my brain was like da na 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 from Your Name. Every time the trains passed each other.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it was. It's a really cool thing to do, and I mean, summing up like everything that we just said, taking the Shinkansen is just such a good way to see so much of Japan and like so much of different regions. Like you're getting cityscapes, you're getting countryside, you're getting the seaside, you're getting the mountains, you're getting these crazy little. What was the one picture that you were showing me that you got where it was they were playing baseball?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm still working on that. Dude. Yeah, it was I was just talking about that yesterday. It was just cool. I didn't know I had it until I was, going through it, my photos. But you have Fuji in the background. Then you have this cool, really long bridge, probably another bullet train or something. And then that's in the distance. You have the city that you're seeing all of, and then right up under where the train is, it's just a baseball field, and you got some people playing. I got a couple pictures of different like moments of that, and then one of them, there's this guy like teed up, ready to go. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Teed up, is that what you say? I don't watch baseball.
Teed up? I don't watch baseball.
That's T-ball, right?
What is it? I heard baseball described one time as was it 3? Oh damn it! What is it? It's like 10 minutes of excitement in a 3-hour window.
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty fucking accurate actually.
It took a little
but bit. Yeah, if you guys are, I know, so I guess we could put it in later or we can reiterate it. I don't know. If you're planning on going to Japan and you book through, I don't know if people know, as of right now when we're recording this, March of 2025, if you buy tickets to Japan through Japan Air, while you're in the country, you can also buy tickets to prefecture to prefecture within Japan for free. Travel is free if you're buying an international flight to Japan through Air Japan. I don't know if a lot of people know that. So you can do that, but I don't know how long that's going to run. So if you had the chance to do that, obviously do it because that's free. But even if you do get to do that, still take the Shinkansen somewhere at least once because it is an experience. It is really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Shinkansen is definitely worth it. Just going through, I think my favorite was going through the countryside parts where there was like all these small traditional houses.
Yeah.
Just packed up the mountain.
Yeah.
And then there would be like, I remember there were spots with these little pockets of houses on the mountain, like these little, like right where the mountain has a valley, and then you just see these pockets of like 100 houses. Yeah, it's just really cool.
I got this one. I don't know if I got a picture of it. I hope I did. If I did, I'll put it up. But there was this one. It was one of the most Japanese things I've ever seen in my life. It was like, I don't remember if it was Fuji or another set of mountains, but it was like mountain range, and then it was like this little bitty like town nestled underneath the base of the mountain, and in like the foreground, close to the train tracks, was like this little garage or a house with like a little garage next to it, and parked like right out front of that garage was a yellow RX-7, an FD. So a banana FD, which is like one of the like JDM cars of the 90s, just like parked at the bottom of this little garage at the bottom of a mountain face in like rural Japan. And it's like, what the hell, man? Like, it was so cool to see. So I hope I got a picture of it. I don't know if I did, though.
I wonder if that's like the equivalent of like the hot rod trailer park kid.
Joe Dirt with his fucking Trans Am. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got on our Shinkansen and then went back to Tokyo.
Yeah.
And Tokyo was wild. Tokyo, I don't know. We were in a bunch of different parts of it. We went to Shinjuku, Shibuya. We went down to where the Gundam was. I forget what that was called. Do you remember where that was? It's on an island.
Oh, was it Kawaramachi? Is that where it was?
Kawaramachi. No, Kawaramachi was
that was something else.
That was in Kyoto. I cannot remember where that was, but we went down to where the big Gundam unicorn
Gundam base
to scale statue is. Yeah. And me and Jeff went to Daikoku, which is that was when we get to that, I'll talk about it because that was kind of crazy.
We stayed slightly north of Akihabara, and that was our main goal.
It was really close to Akihabara, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we picked it because it was close to Akihabara. But so, we talked about how, like, before we planned our trip, we wanted to spend a good maybe 2 days in Akihabara. And so we planned out to put that at the end of the trip so that we had the whole trip to kind of, spend money how we wanted to. And then we would know what our budget was going into Akihabara, assuming that we were going to spend a lot in Akihabara,
Yeah. But I mean, knowing us, that was like, it was a safe bet.
Yeah.
I think it was wise to do that.
I think it was. But it wasn't what we thought it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. And I want to talk about that because me, I mean you too, but me, like
Mm-hmm.
talking for myself, this incredibly huge nerd who like obsessed with anime. All I do is watch anime. We go to like the anime heaven of like sanctuary of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like not as exciting as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, I think that I expected something more like a Dotonbori,
Mm-hmm.
but with anime, and what it and I've heard that it's changed. Now, I'm prefacing this by I've also heard that Akihabara is not what it used to be,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like being able to find stuff A for a good price and B like a lot of the places are being changed over. Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the buildings are being renovated, and then all those shops are being forced out into other shops of a more like fashionable business model are being put into those shops.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I have heard that, but yeah, I kind of expected something like a Dotonbori esque atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
but with anime, and that wasn't what it was. It was
No.
just a lot of skyscrapers that was floor to floor to floor of different anime shops, which is like cool,
Yeah.
but it was
It was.
also a lot of repeating
It
things.
was. That's what it was. It was so commercial.
Yeah.
Felt and it felt
And it
like
was like
a.
everyone knew exactly what they had. There weren't
Mhm.
really deals.
I didn't. Yeah, I was so excited because I had watched so many videos before, like years throughout the years of Akihabara, and
Mm,
like finding the Game Boys and the Game
yeah.
Cubes and like these old like game consoles, like all these unique and limited figures and like all these these gems, and I was so excited to find these hidden gems for myself. And then we get there, and it felt like each of these buildings was its own convention center,
Yeah.
and they were all just very commercial and very copy paste from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I feel like the most I saw that I wanted was at the book offs that we visited.
I was gonna say that. I was like, dude, the best deals that I remember finding were literally at the book offs.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Whether it was the either the I mean, I got a couple Pokemon cards from a book off. They're nothing crazy, but they were just
yeah,
like old Neo cards that were cool.
yeah.
Um and well, the Queen's Blade thing was kind of a bummer when I got the Queen's
Mm.
Blade thing, because that's not what I thought it was. But I gotta learn to read
But it
in
was $5,
Japanese.
right?
Yeah, I mean it was literally $5. And it
Yeah,
is a cool box set,
yeah.
but um
You should have got
yeah,
that fully coolly box set.
I know. But the same thing.
It was for progressive, right?
It was just for progressive, and
Yeah,
it was just Japanese, no subtitles. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure.
yeah.
Um,
It's more.
the
I guess stuff like that more for the trophy of it, anyways.
yeah, yeah. But the main thing is like I actually saw some like deals of electronics at book offs.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were a couple. I think there was like the N64. I wasn't in the market for N64, so I was like, I'm not just gonna pick it up just to pick it up.
Right.
And there some stuff like that where as like in Akihabara, man, like I saw the Digivices. I was like, oh, if I can find a Gen 2 Digivice or the Digivice scanners, I was like, I'm gonna pick one up. And I found them in one store, and they were like, talk, they were just like the regular
Mm-hmm.
Digivices, not the remakes. They're like just the square bricks. And I mean, they were like $100 and something. I was like,
Yeah.
no, dude, what are you
Yeah.
like? No,
Same for the
I
Game
can,
Boys. Every time I saw a Game Boy,
yeah.
they were like, 150 to $200 for an old
Mm-hmm.
vintage Game Boy. Which I mean, I get it. Like they're vintage items, but
But these,
that's not what I
but
thought we
these
were
weren't
going to be
even
walking
like,
into.
yeah, these weren't sealed. They weren't like in pristine condition or anything like that. Like you could tell they had been
Mm.
used, and it was like, guys,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
So that was,
There's going to be a yard sale at some point where we'll find one for much cheaper.
yeah, in like another 15 years.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it was surprising because I think me and you, we were enthusiastic to explore it when
It
we
was
got
cool to
there.
do. It
Mm-hmm.
was really cool, especially like somebody who had never been to it before,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was a little bit of an aspect of the quest, because at one point, like when we linked back up with Jeff, he was like, I want the what's her name, Ryoko, Raiko. That's a Pokemon. Um, from Tenchi Muya, blue hair
Yeah.
from Tenchi Muya. He was like, I want to see if I can find a statue or a figurine of her. And I was like, well, dog, if we're gonna find one, this is gonna be the place we find it.
Yeah.
And we went to how many buildings
Yeah.
of going floor to floor, and we never saw one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I mean, Tenchi isn't Dragon Ball Z. It's not Pokemon. It's it's not Gundam. You know, shows of that generation that have that huge of a following. It's not that, but it's not small. Like people
Mm-hmm.
know what Tenchi is. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it was always on Toonami, and different iterations of it were on Toonami. So it's like it's not the smallest show in the world, and we
Yeah.
didn't find anything.
Yeah. I thought I was expecting to see these figures or books or art pieces or whatever of anime that doesn't really get the hype in America that I would expect it to do in Japan, for series that I personally like, but I don't really know many people who enjoy them the same, I thought I was going to see stuff like that, but it was just One Piece and Demon Slayer and Chainsaw Man and Dress Up Darling and the same ones every store you went to, just the same sets of figures every floor. Like even in the same floor, because we went to the big one that everyone talks about, and it's like different vendors owning different parts of the store. So like you'll see a set of figures for one price here, then you'll see those same sets over here for a different price, and you just kind of like pick which ones you want or whatever. But yeah, it was like I've been to quite a few anime conventions now, and it's gotten to the point where whenever I visit, I go to the convention center, the exhibit hall where all the merch is. And I'll walk around really quickly, see if there's anything unique. And then if that's it, I'm done,
Yeah.
And that's what this turned into. We spent 4 hours there, which compared to the 2 days we thought we were going to spend walking around,
Yeah.
it's very different. Just, we did our shopping within 4 hours. We walked around. I was like, is there anything else you want to see? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We were looking on our Google Maps for things that were sticking out. And it's just much of the same,
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like it's cool, but it's not, because we could have spent a lot of money there, and we ended up not having to spend that much money.
True.
I don't know. I wish it was more like It's not that I wish I bought more. It's just that I wish that there'd have been more like unique items that felt like they were for me, like that oh my god moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wanted to
and
connect
there kind of
with
wasn't.
it. Yeah, I thought there would be more of a connection to Akihabara for me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I would have these moments where I'm just like, I would never be able to find this here, or never be able to like connect with a fandom like this anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it wasn't quite what I thought it was, but I think it's good that I was able to, both of us were able to make that, like get that understanding, instead of having these naive like goggles on, this like, oh, it's Akihabara, it's amazing. The fact that I'm glad I was able to consciously say, yeah, it's not what I was expecting.
Yeah,
because then
I think anybody, if you are an anime fan, I'd say go to it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would just say maybe maybe we should have done more research. Maybe do a lot of research on the specific shops that you should, check out, because I have heard that kind of like off Broadway, like off Akihabara, there are still some good stores there, but it's off of the main quad area, with all those buildings, and off the main strip. So maybe like just do your research a little bit better. Maybe I'll go back if I, go to Japan, when we go to Japan again.
Yeah. I definitely plan on visiting again. It's like it was still like, I'm being critical because of my expectations.
Right.
But it was still really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I still had a great time exploring it,
like the hentai stores alone were super freaking cool. Like something I didn't expect. I was like, oh, this is rad.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have talked about how we're both like that, where I was really excited to get some good doujins, like, and that was cool. Like you don't get stuff like that here, and
Yeah.
so that was really cool. There's stuff like there were moments like that. That adult store that we went into, where I got my friends the magnets and stuff. Like,
oh yeah.
that place was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. That was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, there's little like those places that kind of pull you out of the commercial of it were my favorite parts of it. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, if you're a huge figure person, then it's definitely for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not huge into figures, so
yeah.
But I mean, the deals, like there's these vendors with just buckets and buckets of figures that are just open with like price tags taped on them, you know. And I'm sure you can find some awesome deals there.
Yeah.
I almost got some K-On figures, you know. I love my K-On.
I mean, some of that stuff, I mean, there was a lot of really cool stuff there, you know, and it's the same thing that you're saying. I was like, you know what? If I was in the figures, I would have totally picked something up, but I'm not. Like, I'm into Dakota Bakia kits, you know, I like the Zoid kits, and there were some there, but, you know, most of them were things that I'd seen before, or they were, you know, they were things that I can still get off of Hobby Link Japan, or there are things that were on Hobby Link Japan that just aren't in production right now that you can still find at reasonable prices off of eBay or whatnot or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like there was nothing huge calling to me there.
And that's another thing that I want to bring up that kind of pertains to Akihabara, but also to the thrift stores and the vintage stores that we went to in Osaka and Kyoto too. Is I noticed while I was there that different from how I believe things probably were before. It feels like what I remember saying on the trip is people, they know what they have, you know, like they know what they have and they price accordingly.
Yeah.
You know, it's not one of those things where you go in as a tourist and you see the value in something that the locals don't, you know, like they know what they have and they priced accordly.
Yeah.
So,
the internet's ruined that version of
that's what I was going to say. It's like the society that type of like secondhand, vintage item, that type of market, has become too modernized.
Right.
So finding those secret figures that, you know, are like big hits, like they're going to be priced way higher now.
Yeah, for sure.
Those consoles that now, you know, are very hard to find, they're not going to be $20 anymore. You know, they're going to be hundreds of dollars. Yeah. And it's because everyone's aware now. You know, they know what they have and they price accordingly.
Yeah.
So it's like I was really excited for the vintage stores. Did we talk about the vintage stores, the like American theme in all the vintage stores? Did we talk about that?
In Osaka?
Just like all the thrift stores in Japan.
Yeah.
Like the clothing stores. Did we talk about that?
Yeah, we talked about it in Osaka when we were talking about Osaka. But yeah, I mean, we can talk about it a little bit if you want to. About
I just don't remember if we talked about how
much American. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, we both had the same idea, but I know you were really looking forward to it. Was to try to find, you know, Japanese vintage clothing.
Right.
And every store that we went into that was a vintage store was nothing but like Levi's, Carhartt. I mean, they love Carhartt over there.
Patagonia.
Holy shit. Patagonia. Oh, they love Patagonia and Colombia. Not really Colombia, Patagonia though.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of, it's just American culture. And like, I get it because that stuff is cool to them because they don't get it over there.
Yeah.
So I get it, but it was kind of a bummer because I was like, man, like I wanted some like dope ass Japanese, like some old school Japanese, like band tees or some like old school Japanese Levi's or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like a t-shirt from some Japanese restaurant or like store, or, you know, something commercial, like a Japanese commercial shirt or something like that. I would have
anything. And instead we were seeing like old NASCAR jackets. And I was like, seeing a Jeff Gordon DuPont NASCAR jacket circa 2004, that was not on my list of things to see in Japan.
I bet the stuff that we wanted is out there, but the research that I
If you
did,
know where to go.
yeah, exactly. The research that I did and the friends that I asked, um, it kind of pointed out the main areas that we went to, and it was, that's what we saw was the American stuff.
Yeah.
But and
It
then
was still cool to see,
it
man.
was awesome. Yeah, it was
Like with the
interesting.
American Village, like I remember seeing that one couple that, or it wasn't an American Village, it was in
Dalton Buddy.
Born2BNerd, yeah,
Yeah,
where like the really attractive couple
yeah,
and both of them were kitted the fuck out and nothing but Carhartt stuff.
right.
Like he had the Carhartt beanie, a Carhartt jacket, Levi pants, Carhartt boots. She's
Yeah.
wearing the cute little like Carhartt beanie, like a white Patagonia, white, everything. I'm just
Hmm.
like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah,
It was cool though.
it was awesome. But yeah, I thought that was worth pointing out as something interesting that we noticed.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so we spent that first day exploring Akihabara. Did we do anything else? We went to the that temple by the zoo, right? I think we went to a couple temples. That was what was that? That was a park. Something. Start with an O. Do you remember?
The one with the really big reeds,
It was
like the
like
reeds surrounding it.
uh,
That you're talking about?
um yes, that one.
Yeah.
That was I forget the name of that park, but it was in that area near
Yeah.
Akihabara to the north of it, I think.
Hmm.
Really big park, very beautiful. Um, but yeah, and then was it day 2 that we split up? We split off.
Yeah.
Oh, we went to
We went to Gundam Gate Day 2.
and we went to Gotokuji.
Let's go to Kuji.
That was the cat shrine.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's how we started that day.
Hmm.
Yeah. We went to that place. Was awesome.
Yeah,
I'd
it was
like to
cool.
actually like explore that place. It's very residential.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
it seems a lot slower.
it was. It was. It was
It seemed
quiet.
more like Osaka, honestly. Like it was a lot
Hmm.
slower paced.
It was a little bit more modern than Osaka, though, right?
Yeah.
Like those houses were a little bit more suburban, kind of modern.
But like we got there around like 9 or 10 or something,
Hmm.
and it felt like the city was still like waking up. Like the little
Hmm.
town was still like waking up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It was cute, and yeah, there was all like the little cat.
Well, people buy the little lucky cats and they place them on these little tables.
Yeah,
So the shrine just has hundreds of these little
yeah.
cat figures.
But it was cool. It was like we were only there for like a couple hours maybe,
Hmm.
and then we had to take the train back to. That's when we went to the Gundam
Yeah,
thing.
they had the is it called a pagoda?
Oh yeah, they had a pagoda. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a 3-tier pagoda,
Hmm.
as opposed to the
And
one in Kyoto that we saw that was like a 5-tier.
yeah, and
But
then there was that. I remember there was that. I don't know if you saw it, but there was that big rock with inscribed, and the writing was Jujutsu Kaisen, like the same font from Jujutsu Kaisen.
oh really?
Yeah, I'll give you a picture.
I don't remember
Um,
that.
yeah, it was cool. It was like I was like that's Jujutsu Kaisen, which I mean makes sense because Jujutsu Kaisen is based off of like they kind of stay within a shrine and
Yeah.
it's very like supernatural and stuff. So it would
Mm,
make sense that they used the font that they've seen in like these shrines or whatever. But
yeah.
my nerd brain saw it immediately. It's like, hey.
Yeah.
But yeah, then when we went to the Gundam base, we did that. You tried to do the Digimon stamp thing.
Yeah, they were having like a little stamp rally. So, and I was
Yeah.
like, I think I got like literally all of them but one or two.
Mm,
But I thought that it was gonna be something like with Digimon,
yeah.
and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Or I was like, maybe it's like a Digimon store or something. And I was like,
Hmm.
that'd be freaking cool.
Hmm.
But it wasn't, and so I was like, oh, whatever. We were already like not pressed for time, but we had things that we had to do. Like
Yeah.
that was one of the things, you know. But a little tip: if anybody wants to go to the Gundam statue, there is a Gundam base there,
Hmm.
and there's a little store like by where the Gundam is at the foot of the Gundam itself. It's a little bitty base thing. Like, it's a little store. You can buy some stuff in there, but the actual Gundam base is inside the mall, and you have to get like an appointment time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just rock up and go in there. Like they keep it. I'm assuming because it gets really, really packed and absurdly busy. So, and it seemed like it was also kind of a museum itself. Like it's not just a store.
Right.
There's a lot of artifacts. There's a lot of there's a lot of cool collectibles that are on display there at the store. And so that on top of it being a place where you can buy stuff, they want to keep the line moving. So you have to get a time, but the time when we got there, it was like
2 hours.
It was more than that. It was like 3 hours or close to 4. It was a long time. So if you're planning on doing that and you really want to go to the Gundam base, before you go to the actual Gundam, go up to the Gundam base, get your ticket, and, hopefully there'll be enough time. You can like go to the Gundam, see all that, take your pictures, go get something to eat for a little bit, peruse a little, and then hopefully your time will come up. And I'm sure on different days of the week, it's a faster system. But on the day that we went, it was either Sunday or Monday. I can't remember when we went. It was Sunday. We went on a Sunday because that's when that was the day that I had the tickets for Daikoku. So it was Sunday. So Sunday is kind of a packed day. So maybe on like a Monday or Tuesday or something, it's probably better. But if you're wanting to go to the Gundam base while you're there to see the Unicorn Gundam, get your tickets first, and then go see the Gundam.
So that's right, because it was Monday that we split, and you did your trip, and I what did we do before that though? We went somewhere because we split on the way back.
Yeah, so you split. I don't know where you went. We went to the girl bar, or not the girl bar.
Yeah.
The muscle girl bar.
Yeah, but what did we do together before that? I don't remember. We went to the Gundam, and then we ate and we that was
toured
on
around
Monday
there, and then that's where we split.
But that was Monday then.
That was Monday?
It had to have been, because the reason I say it was
Monday because we were supposed to get tickets for Sunday, because that's the day that we were back, and we weren't able to get tickets for Sunday. Yeah, so that
was also
Monday.
The national holiday.
That's right. It was a national holiday.
No, it was Sunday night because Monday was the national holiday, right?
No, it's the opposite, because we got back on the Sunday, and when we went on the Monday, because on the Sunday is when I was trying to get tickets to it, and I dicked around, and by the time I actually bought the tickets to Daikoku,
the cab
was sold out. Yeah,
you're trying to get the cab,
yeah, and so we ended up going, and that's why it was so busy on that Monday, because it was a national holiday that day. Yeah.
And so I thought it was going to be booming because people were off, and it was not. It was
what?
Like Akihabara was really busy until about like 8 maybe, and then it just like I tried to venture off, and everything else outside of Akihabara was just dead. Yeah, and I was tired of like looking at shops, so I ended up just going back to the hotel and watching some anime, which was nice because I went to 7-Eleven, I got some snacks, and then it was the first time in the trip that I watched anime, so I was just like chilling watching anime. But you had a cool little adventure if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, so we split off. Me and Jeff went over to we went to there's this bar in is it Shinjuku? No. Yeah, it is. It's over in Shinjuku. It's a Muscle Girl bar. And so it's exactly what it sounds like. It's your bartenders are these girls that are pretty damn muscular. So for me, that's awesome. And they do stuff. They do some wild stuff. You can buy muscle bucks with real money, and then you pay them the muscle bucks to do specialty shots or like specialty drinks, right? So there's this one they do, I think it's called a slap shot. And this, I did not do this because no one gets to touch this face for free. No one. We're going 1 for 1 if we're doing that. So this one guy, he was this little Canadian dude, and he had glasses on and everything. And he went up there, and so he paid the muscle bucks. And what a slap shot is you take the shot, and then every girl in the restaurant or in the bar that works at the bar, all these jack chicks, slaps the fuck out of you. And I don't mean like, there was one girl that did like a, like a little, okay, like a little tap. Everybody else smacked the dog shit out of this man. I mean, it was just, and there were like 12 girls that worked it there.
I wonder if he knew that that's what it was going to be.
No, I don't think he did. Because this dude, they were hitting him. This one girl, like, it wasn't like a slap, like a this. It was like a jab. Like, she straight up went like that, like a jab but open hand, and it knocked his glasses off. I was like, oh my god. And then the last girl was our waitress, and she did like the power slap thing where she goes and then just swung from her hip, dog, and it knocked his glasses off. And they give you these earmuffs so you don't get like cauliflower ear. They're like soft earmuffs. It knocked the earmuffs and its glasses off his head. Jeez. It was crazy, but it was so fun. It is a bit of a cash grab. Like, it's kind of expensive. It was one of the more expensive things we did, but it is cool. You get to go in for like an hour and a half, and like all the girls are really nice. And obviously, like, it's not a strip club. It's just like these jack chicks doing cool things. Some of the stuff is like suggestively like sexual, but it's not at the same time. Like, there are rules that they introduce at the beginning of your session. That's like, no getting physical with the girls. Like, you can't touch the girls. They can touch you if you pay for that thing. Like, they're like the slap, or there's one where like they'll lift you up, or like I got one where I got on her back like a what do you call it? Not a wheelbarrow, piggyback ride, and she like carried me up and down the aisle. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, they go over the rules where there's like no touching, no. There was this one. She was like this tall. She was like 4'11". She was the smallest one there, and she was like the comedic relief of the group. And when they're like going over the rules, they're like, no kissing, like no groping, and they're like, and what's the other one? No. And then she grabs the leg of one of the girls there, and she starts going like dry humping. Oh yes, no humping. It's just like stuff like that. It was just like cute and funny. Yeah, but that was really, really fun. And then later, the main thing we were wanting to do that night was go to Daikoku, PA. I'm like, I don't think I'm a car guy, but like I kind of am. But specifically, like, I love JDM cars, like from the 90s, your GTRs, your Supras, your RX-7s, your WRXs and STIs and all that stuff. Like, that stuff brings so much joy.
For people who don't know at all what he just said, these are Japanese sports cars?
Well, they're the Japanese hero cars of the 90s. Yeah, okay. The 80s and 90s and early 2000s. So, yeah, it's like, think of like all the cars that you would see in like the original Fast and the Furious, or Initial D and Initial D. So one of my dreams was to go to this place called Daikoku, PA, which is a parking area that all these. It's basically a car show every night of the week, an unofficial car show every night of the week, where all these supercars, or all these, really well-built cars or little shit boxes will meet up. And so, but to get there, you can't take a bus, you can't take a train. It's literally it's a parking area, so it's off of the highway, but it's like in the middle of the ocean, or like it's like you got to go a long ways out, right? So we booked this little tour thing. This guy shows up. It's like this I don't know if he was like Norwegian, and then his partner who drove the other car was a Kiwi, so he was from New Zealand, and it was cool. They took us there, and we get there, and I mean, here's some of the car. I'll just show some of the cars or whatever, but it was kind of a letdown. Daikoku was, because it was a national holiday. It was a Monday, but when we got there, the guy was like, don't worry, it's a national holiday, so there should be some good cars out tonight. And I was like, oh, well, sick. Okay. And we get there, and there's maybe 20 cars there, which for Daikoku is not a lot. Right. Like, that place gets packed. So I was kind of bummed, and we were there for like legitimately like 25 minutes, and the cops broke it up. Like, because there's actually, it's such a big place for cars to meet up that there's actually a police station at Daikoku, PA. And when there's too many cars there on a given night, they'll bust it up. So cops busted up, and we had just gotten there, you know, and we were like, this actually sucks, you know. So we get in the car, and this dude's like, okay, well, we're not going to go back. With all the cars are going to another location. We're going to go there and see some more cars, yeah. And so we were like, all right. So we bombed from Daikoku out to this other place, which is a place that I wanted to go to, but I did not think I was going to get to go to on this trip. And what it is, it's like a concrete island. It's an artificial island that they made. It's this huge parking area, and there's like shops and everything on it. But you take the, oh God, what is it called? Like the Oceanic Highway, I think is what it's called. And it's the highway. It goes under the ocean, right? Like 10 kilometers. It goes under the ocean. I'm going to say it one more time. It goes under the fucking ocean. And you're riding in this tunnel under the ocean for like 10K.
I'm about to ask a really stupid question, but I need to know.
Yeah.
It's just a concrete tunnel, right?
It's a concrete tunnel. Yeah,
okay.
You can't see. You can't see the fish. That would be some wild shit. No.
I was like, I don't know how futuristic Japan is. But,
yeah, no. I mean, it's crazy though, because at some point you are like, holy shit, like I don't see an end.
Yeah.
This is wild. Like this is a tunnel underneath the ocean, and I don't see an out. This is crazy. And but then you come out and you come up, and it looks kind of like the bow of a battleship in a way. It's like what it reminds me of the structure where you're on.
How do you build a tunnel under the ocean?
Dog, obviously there's digging involved.
But how do you clear the water out of the tunnel?
Because you're digging under the water. You're digging under the ocean.
Into the ground?
Into the ground.
But there's got to be water in the ground.
There's definitely water there, but I don't know how they do it. I literally don't know.
I don't know.
Like this kind of thing is where like, you know, all the people who are like, we're in a matrix and we're in a simulation. It's like, yeah, because I can't explain that shit. I'm sure there's an absurd amount of engineering that goes into it that makes it realistic and it makes sense. But I can't get my brain around it.
Yeah.
So we go to this new structure, right? And this place is where they have like RX-7 Day, which is this huge RX-7 meet and all this stuff. And we get there and we pull up, and as we pull up, I see S13 Rocket Bunny kit. I see, I think it's a GTR and S13 with like Liberty Walk kits. I mean, it's like it's what I wanted. Like it's what I want, you know. And that's when we got to get out and actually like talk to some of the people who drive these cars and everything, and that was so dope. I talked to this one guy who had an R31 GTR. The R32 was like Gojira, right? That's like the king of monsters. That's like the GTR that everybody wants. It's my favorite. I think most people's favorites are the 34, but 32 is my favorite. But it was the precursor to that one, the 31. And I'm looking at it, and it's this one right here. But there were twins, right? And I'm talking to him, and I'm like, dude, this car is awesome. And he had broken English, you know, and I'm trying to tell him in my broken shit Japanese. But it's same thing, same one of those interactions where we're both trying, and it just worked, right?
Yeah.
It just melted. And like he was telling me, he was like, yeah. So I was like, your car is awesome and all that stuff. He was like, yeah. So this car, my dad bought this car brand new in 1987 or 1986, and he had it forever until he eventually gave it to me. And then I took it and have slowly built it up the last few years, you know, and it's my car. And I was like, and hopefully like one day I'm going to pass it on to my son. And I was just like, oh my God, like that's so sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just seeing all these cars, and that was dope. That was like the car culture, the Japanese car culture that I was trying to see. You know, and even as we were leaving, because we didn't get to stay there for long. We were there for like maybe 45 minutes or something because it was later in the night. But as we were leaving, this Mercedes, I forget the model it was, comes up. It's like a 90s like rally version of a Mercedes, basically is what it is. Comes up, and it's this guy driving. He has his wife or his girlfriend in the passenger seat, and his kid in like, you know, a car seat in the back. and they're just coming to this car meet, dude. And I'm like, that's the dream. Oh, it's so cool. It was so sick. But yeah, then we came back through the tunnel, the ocean tunnel again, and then that was the end of our night. We were toast after that. That was a lot of traveling that day, but it was so worth it. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think even not being a car guy, I would have enjoyed it, but I was like, they're both actually car people. Yeah. I'm gonna let them go and do that, and then I can just kind of like have a moment to try to maybe explore something on my own. Because my goal was to find a little like a show. I wanted to go to like a concert or something, but there's nothing happening that Monday night.
Well, we went to a concert on that Sunday night.
I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, I do want to get to it, but I do want to talk about it real quick. But what I was just going to talk about when we split. I originally went back to the hotel to get settled in. I wanted to I think I like put some stuff away and then I left or whatever. But before I got to the hotel, our hotel, that Section L hotel, it was at the bottom of that hill. And we had been coming in and out of it for the last couple of days. And I was like, I wonder what's at the top of that hill. Since I was by myself, I was like, I'm just going to climb it. So I scaled this hill. It was a pretty tall hill.
Oh,
And so I get to the top and then I just look right to the right and it's just a shrine. It was just like this shrine temple. And I was like, that is sick. So I started exploring it. And as soon as I walked in, I think it was like one of the most beautiful of the small shrines that we had visited so far. The plum blossoms that were there had actually started to bloom. And they had this little garden area that had a little waterfall and everything. And I was just like, I was in awe. I was just like, I can't believe this was just right up the hill. It was so cool. I was like, I told myself as I was walking up the hill, I was like, I want to do this because it's got to be worth the climb, right? I'm going to get it to the top of this thing and be like, this was worth it, And it was. And I remember
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah. I love that song. I'm not going to lie.
It's a great song.
It's a great song. But yeah, I remember I was taking photos of everything and I had this wonderful interaction with this older lady. She saw me taking pictures and she was asking me, she's like, are you getting are the pictures coming out good? And I was like, oh, I think so. And I was showing her and she was trying to give me a pointer. She wanted me to do something, but she was speaking in Japanese and using language that I have never learned.
Yeah. Like technical Japanese.
She was just using vocabulary that I had my lessons hadn't gone there. So I was like, I don't know what you're saying. And I was trying to pull up my Translate app and record, and I would hit the mic and it would say record, and then she would speak into it, and then nothing would happen. And I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. And
I know what you were doing. Just a side note, I know what you're doing because I did it 10 times.
What?
It would be in what you were trying to say, which would be English, but you were trying to press for her to say something in Japanese back, but it was still stuck in English.
Maybe.
So she was trying to say something, but it couldn't record whatever the hell she was saying.
Yeah.
It's very possible. I did that a lot.
Yeah. But I was, she was pointing and, so I was like, okay, maybe she was pointing at these, so the entryway was blocked by 2 big sticks of bamboo. And she kept pointing at him. I was like, does she want me to get the guardrails in there? So I tried to take a picture a little lower, and I was like, I showed her. I was like, is this? She's like, no, da. I'm like, I don't know. She was like, can I? I was like, yeah. So I gave her the camera and she's taking pictures. She's kind of small lady, just taking pictures with the camera. And she basically just wanted to get everything. She just wanted me to get a wide angle of everything, which it was cool, but it wasn't very photogenic, and plus I was trying to capture the beauty of the garden, and I didn't really want the skyscrapers in the background to be in the photo, but it was cute because she took the pictures and stuff, and then she was giving me these history lessons of the garden and stuff. She was pointing, she's like, this, and she would explain something. And I was like, I don't know what you're saying, but that's really cool.
I
then
appreciate it all.
yeah, and she like took me on like a little mini tour, and she was like just telling me things, and I had no idea what she was saying. But there's a couple moments where like we made a connection where she was like this is an old carving of a bud and a flower and blah blah blah, a leaf. I was like, oh, that's really cool. But then she was like, she was like, I gotta go. That was really fun. I was like, yeah, that was really fun. Thank you so much. But it was just such a beautiful interaction that like, just me by myself having like a little moment,
Mm-hmm.
And again, it goes into to what I said last time of how so many of our awesome interactions were with the elderly in Japan. It was like so many, but yeah, that was my little solo adventure. And then I was like trying to find a concert. I wanted to see a female led light rock band. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see like Bocchi the Rock, K-On, because those are my favorite like music anime. Not that like I compare everything to anime, but I love J-Rock and like like female J-Rock bands, Lisa and Aimer and all these other bands. Like I love that stuff. So seeing like some locals is what I like. Me and you were trying to find some shows before we even went there because we were both like down. And I found a venue that had like lots of pictures of J-Rock bands on it and stuff. And I was really excited, but I like made it halfway there and no, I went all the way. I went all the way and it was just lights out. It was just like dead silent. But that was where I found that awesome bridge. And so I gave y'all like a little tour the next day.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to show you all the cool things that I had discovered on my little solo trip.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the concert?
I mean, we don't have to if you don't want to. But it
no,
was
I mean,
like
it's something that we should bring up because we were, we were trying to do some unique things, trying to find some interesting things to like make some memories and see like some not necessarily super touristy spots of
we wanted
Japan.
a little like underground show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was looking at like the what do they call them in Japan? They don't call them like shows. They call them
idol. It's
no, the whole like all of those they're not rooms. They're what are they called? What were we searching up? Not music room. Showroom? No.
a live house.
Live house. That's what they called them. Live house. So I was just trying to see like are there any nerdy anime themed live houses in Akihabara,
Hi.
Yeah, and I found that one and I was like, you want to try this? And you're like, yeah, let's go. So we go. And it was like an open mic night idol show.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, it was like an open mic night for people who want to give off idol performances.
Yeah.
They do covers and they dance. They dress up and everything. Yeah. And we were when we got there, the only
spectators.
When we got there, it was you and I, and I'm assuming the manager of the venue.
Yeah.
We're the only three. And then slowly, one by one, a few other men showed up. And it was just not the vibe.
I'm trying to be as like understanding. We both are because we don't understand it, and I am a very open-minded person.
Yeah, very.
We just talked about Dojin and hentai on this fucking podcast.
Yeah,
to this day, I don't understand what I saw that night. So you have I will say first of all, I did not expect the idols to actually be singing. The idols actually sang their songs. It's to a track, but they actually sang their songs. Did not expect that. So that was actually cool. What also I didn't expect is for these grown men in the audience there would be like this breakdown part of songs where the idols would dance and there would be just a music breakdown going on. when the idols would be dancing and doing this thing, every motherfucker in there knew the words to all these songs,
like these chants or whatever.
It was like war chants, and they would like smack the ground and I mean, just like screaming like they're at a damn metalcore show or
and
something.
If you've seen a huge idol show, you'll know what we're talking about. Like that does happen at those shows.
But it was like a pit. It was like they would circle, turn their backs to the idol, and make this like pit where they're just screamring
it's
in
like
a circle at each other.
Yeah.
And then they would and then come back with their little
light sticks
up. One guy, he loved the.
Oh yeah.
Right back up to the thing, and they would like just anything to get like a little touch from the idol. As they would I was like, dude.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to judge, but I feel so out of place, and I just don't understand what the fuck is going on.
I've watched idol shows before, and like big concerts I've seen, and you'll get the same stuff, but it's a huge concert. So these idols have a huge fan base, and that's these fans' way of
showing
being
adoration
enthusiastic.
And all that. Yeah.
But this was like an open mic night idol show, and there was like 5 men in there. Like it was like us and 5 other guys,
like grown ass men.
Yeah, and it was a little awkward for me. And me and you were like, it's not our thing, but they're having a great time. The girls are working really hard to like put on a good show, and it was an experience. So we were trying to enjoy it. And I remember my switch. I was uncomfortable. I was like, this isn't quite for me. This isn't exactly what I was hoping for when we came down here.
Yeah.
But then this guy walked in with a teddy bear. And
that's what did it for you? The fucking teddy bear.
Yes. I mean, I was already uncomfortable and kind of wanting to go. And I don't want to, I'm not judging this guy at all. I promise. But when he walked in holding a teddy bear, I was like, I don't belong here.
I shouldn't be here.
I like my skin started to like enclose around my ribs and like just constrict around me. And I got so anxious. And I was just like, you were like, you looked at me and you're like, you look like you're crawling out of your skin. I was like, I can't do this.
I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. And so, we had to get out. We left. But,
it was strange. You know what? I'm glad we did it because it was, I've literally never done anything like that before.
Yeah.
And it makes for a fun story. But to this day, I don't understand what's going on there.
Yeah. They were all like I said, they were all harmless. Nobody was doing anything weird, like weird as in like wrong or inappropriate. They're just having a good time in their own way. But it does like that type of interaction is there's something to that, that level of like.
Here's what it felt like to me, because it was so performative. When they start going, I mean, should I include a video?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I'm gonna show a video.
Okay.
I'll probably like turn off the sound or something, but while they're doing this, it was like, because they get so loud. Like, I mean, they were as loud as the fucking music. You know what I mean? It was like they weren't there to see the show. It was like they just wanted to be like a part of a show, and they wanted to be in the show, but they don't have the courage to actually go up and do a performance.
Yeah.
But they want that. And so that's how they are in the show.
Yeah. Well, I know that there are people who do that as a hobby, like do that type of like performative interaction at concerts, like idol shows and stuff.
Mm.
But to do it at something as like when you're doing it with like 50 other guys and y'all are just like, that's your thing to like put on the like, it's almost like doing crowd surfing or
doing a mosh pit or something.
Yeah, like it's their way of like contributing and like enjoying the show, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was where we were that made it so much worse. It was the fact that we were in this like open mic night idol show,
9 floors up in the shittiest elevator that I've ever been on.
Yeah.
Like,
and it was 5 of them. And it just didn't make sense. Yeah.
All right, moving on past it.
That was like one of the last experiences we had on the trip.
Was it? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it was like,
because then the next day the last day we were there, we were really just exploring like
the
same areas, and then you took us over to that. Well, we went to that shrine again because Jeff had to break off. He had an earlier flight, and then we went to the temple at the top of the hill that you went to the day before.
Yeah, we finally got some street food,
some good street food. Did that, and then just walked around taking more pictures and stuff, man.
Yeah, we went to the bridge. We went to the creepy vending machines.
Oh yeah, that was wild. There was like, what was all in there? Was like a phone in one?
I have a picture. I'll send you the picture. It's like the picture I have. There's like a beetle, like a robot beetle.
Bugs. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like little like motorized bugs.
Yeah.
A little bucket of beads or bells or something.
Oh, there was cans of soup.
Cans of curry.
Yeah. So like, strange. So weird.
Boxes with like homemade stories on them. Yeah. I watched a YouTube video about that place, so I was like, I want to take them to this weird vending machine location.
It was also the only vending machine place that I ever saw that had like actual trash around it. Like there was like trash.
Oh, litter.
Yeah. Like around the area, and I was like, this is wild.
Yeah. It's like intentionally unkempt.
Yeah, it's like intentionally shitty.
Yeah. That's what's so interesting about Japan is like everything is intentional.
Yeah.
Like everything is, for the most part, very clean. So you know that being left dirty is left there just to give off the aesthetic that this place is like dingy and gross. Yeah. As the selling point of that location. It's just interesting.
It is. It's funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That was pretty much
Tokyo.
To Tokyo for us. Yeah.
Any other things in Tokyo really stood out to you? At least, we didn't spend as much time. I think another trip should spend a little bit more time exploring the other parts of Tokyo that we did.
I think so too. Yeah. We might have more of a appreciation for it. I think just being our first time, we just fell in love with Osaka, and then we had like the experiences that we had in Kyoto, and so Tokyo, because we were only there for like 3 days, basically, it didn't have the same hold on us as the other places did.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. As a nerd, like it was really cool seeing these huge anime billboards and these like
or like when we came up, remember when we like kind of got lost going through Shibuya, like trying to figure out where everything was, because they were doing construction on the subway. And so we had spit us out on another part where we didn't know where. We just kept following signs or following green blocked off paths, like I don't know where we're going, and finally it shot us out at Shibuya crossing, and we walked up. We were like, "Oh, yeah, that's the crossing there." That was kind of cool. But I think that if next time we go, I think I'm probably I don't know. I'm debating on where I'm going to go, but I would like to at some point give Tokyo its like time to see if I feel differently about it.
And it depends on the person you are too, because I definitely I think visiting Japan made me reminded me of how much of a nature person I am, because all the times that I had I enjoyed the most were when we were visiting shrines and going through the gardens the bamboo forest, the mountains, things like
Yeah.
that are what really stood out to me. Walking through cities and stuff, like they were cool. That's a good place to shop, but didn't quite have the emotional hold that those nature areas did. So if you're more of like a city life person, then Tokyo probably would work a little bit more for you, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of what type of person you are.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Tokyo too, but
Yeah. I would definitely like to do more, like visit Tokyo more and learn, like experience more Tokyo food, maybe go to some other shows. You know, I want to go to some more live houses and stuff. And there's probably like lots of events and stuff going on throughout the city that, you know, would be awesome to take part in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, the Tokyo trip was the least kind of,
Impactful.
yeah.
I agree. Do you want to try to go through some tips or anything?
Well,
or what do you want to go to next?
Yeah, well, what I wanted to talk about is real quick is just how we're feeling, you know, after the trip, post trip, like how much was the trip worth it? What kind of, you know, where our hearts out are, and where our heart, you know what I'm trying to say. I can't talk.
Okay. Well, I mean, I
wonder what it would have been like doing this podcast immediately after the trip, rather than
I think it would have been a very
after.
depressing podcast.
Yeah, because we would have just been like,
oh, dude, we both went through it. I mean, I think you went through it more than I did, but I remember I came back, and the first 3 or 4 days when I came back, I mean, immediately I was like,
yeah, you went into a funk immediately because you didn't have to work. And you were just at home in your thoughts.
Yeah. So you and Jeff, you both were back to work pretty immediately. I didn't have to work that week. Yeah. I was off. And so I came back and I just sat in my house, you know, alone. Shelby's at work. And I'm just like immediately, you know, going from some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in Japan to Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm just like, I fucking hate it here. I hate it here so much. And then it started spiraling, man. Yeah. And for like 3 days, I was just like, this is bad. This is real bad. And then I was like, all right, I got to get out of the house, you know, and went out and rode my motorcycle and all this stuff and walked Hudson. That was definitely all helped. And it's better now. Now I can look back at it fondly. But yeah, I think something that's crazy that people don't think about, I definitely didn't think about it, was just like how to go from this like high, like, and not just a high, but like consecutive days and weeks of being on just like cloud, like your cloud nine. So this is something, okay, so that's something that I told you that my friend Victoria, me and her were talking about. She's over in Auckland, New Zealand right now. That's where she's been for a while. And I think she's going to be there for like 6 months or something. But I was telling her about it. She was like, have you ever heard the concept of a thin place? And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so apparently this is kind of woo-woo. But there's
what's woo-woo? You sent me that in a text message. I don't know what woo-woo is.
Woo-woo is like, it's fugazi, it's fairy dust. It's like not real. It's like Eastern medicine, like air quotes, Eastern medicine thinking, like you're going to massage your ankle and then your sinuses are going to get better. It's like bullshit. You know what I mean? So there's this idea of thin places of, so there's our plane of existence, our realm, and then there are other planes, other realms of existence. And there are thin places throughout the earth that when we visit those places, the veil between realms of paradise becomes very thin. And she was like, it sounds like for you, Japan was a thin place, that wherever you're there, that veil is so thin that you can't help but feel elated. And I was like, damn. Yeah. I never thought of that. I never even heard of that, but it makes sense. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we talked about it multiple times, you know, and since we've been back, but it's like, I'm definitely going to go back, and I want to find a way to go back more,
Yeah.
you know, for a longer time.
Yeah.
Do I think it's worth it for anyone to go? Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, we're obviously some people who this was like the top of place where I wanted to go in the world. I mean, it's Japan and Thailand. Those are my two, and those are my two big ones that I want to go to. And Japan even more than Thailand. And so for me, it was 100% worth it. Tickets are honestly like, save up. I mean, if you save up for it, you can, and that's something that like we've kind of talked about. Is over there right now, the exchange rate is so cheap, or it's so good for the American dollar anyway. You're gonna be able, if you're not just buying everything, like you're gonna be able to extend your dollar for a long time because of how cost efficient it is over there.
I remember that guy. You remember that guy on the at the airport that was very doom and gloom about Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like very pessimistic about the future of Japan.
He was like, y'all might be on the last wave of how it was, and I was like, God damn, bro, don't take that shit.
Yeah, I don't. He seemed very intelligent, but I also didn't quite buy everything that he was saying as far as like how bad it's gonna be. You know, I could tell that he knew what he was talking about, so I don't want to discredit anything he said, but he made it feel like Japan was gonna change so much that it was like not gonna be visitable, you know? And I just don't believe that.
Yeah.
That place has been pretty consistent for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So with like growing development, obviously, but
yeah,
it's one of the places that I would say has changed the least as far as how it works. But I think, you know, you and I got a general ticket there, but my friend who went there for his honeymoon, he used an app that gives you like deals and just picked a ticket when it was its cheapest. So him and his wife went for like $400 plane tickets round trip.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah, and they went for just a few days less than we did. So yeah, I mean, depending on what your availability is, there are ways to get there cheap, and there are ways to like going with the group. I think helps.
So
whenever you're splitting an Airbnb and
especially
stuff like
with
that,
hotels and Airbnbs,
that makes. I mean, $100. We spent, I think, maybe $500 a person for the entire
2 weeks.
Yeah,
that we were there.
Yeah, maybe not quite.
I
even
think it
that.
was less than that.
Yeah. So not bad at all. And then we probably did Konbini food more than a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
We didn't really do any expensive dinners at all. So, most of my money was spent out of choice buying, a tons of stuff from the Pokemon Center and stuff like that. So, yeah.
You still have your candy?
Yeah.
Mine's gone, dude. Mine was gone like literally the first week. Mine was gone.
Yeah.
No! Oh my! Ooh, the Muse, dude. The Muse wafers are so good. Vanilla and the strawberry.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. They're so
I don't usually have much of a sweet tooth, so they stick around for a while. Sorry, I'm making a bunch of noise.
Sweet tooth, white man's bullets.
But yeah, this is my favorite though.
That's a good adorable box.
They're like little chocolates, I think. It's a pretty box though. And then the Gundam, I got these. This was from the Gundam base, and these were the. You didn't get these. You got the other one.
I got the long tin.
Yeah, these are like other wafer cookies. What? Yeah. I miss it really badly. I've been ever since I got back, TikTok has just done a 180, and just all of a sudden it's just all about visiting Japan. It's all about touring Japan. It's all about taking photos in Japan. Like, what? Why? I never clicked that. I never searched that. All of a sudden it's like, hey, do you like photography?
Do you like photography?
Japanese?
Do you also like Japan?
Yeah, it's very strange. Especially when it started showing me Fiji photos.
Oh, Fuji?
Like, Fuji. Yeah, sorry, Fuji. It was like, do you want to take photos in Japan, but you don't like editing? Well, check out these. What do you call
film simulations? Yeah, from Fuji. Yeah,
I was like, this is literally what I had to listen to.
Dude, you can't get away from it.
I know. It's just crazy. But anyways, there have been a couple of videos of people talking about living in Japan, what that's like, and the positive and negatives, pros and cons. Because I've talked about it. I've thought about moving to Japan throughout the years, and visiting. I was like, dude, I don't want to live where I'm living. Mm-hmm. But it's tough because I watch these videos, and these people are like, it's when you're visiting as a tourist, you're free,
right,
and that contributes to a lot of the magic because you have no responsibilities. You can just do whatever you want. And that's clearly what we're meant to do as human beings, is whatever we want. We just can't, And so a lot of people have advised to think about that whenever planning to move, because once you get a job,
reality kind of sets in.
Yeah. And so, it's kind of made me pull my foot off the ledge a little bit,
Well, I heard this quote of someone. They were talking about moving to Japan or moving anywhere. It just happened to be in Japan where they were talking about. And they were like, if you're miserable doing the job that you're doing in America or in England or wherever you are, moving to Japan isn't going to make you like that job anymore.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you're doing a job, you're still going to be there 8 to 12 hours a day. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just the reality of a job. So they were like, if wherever you want to move, if it's Japan, if it's wherever, find something that you enjoy doing it. Because if you enjoy doing it there, being at a place that you also enjoy is only going to make it 10 times more enjoyable. Mm-hmm. So he was like, find something that you can do that you enjoy, then just do that in Japan. And he was like, that's the idea.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, ideally, if I could because what I would want to do is own my own business, So if I could do that in Japan, then sure.
Grindhouse burgers in Japan, dog.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, there's another part of that idea, which is kind of like the inverse of it, which is, I was talking to my brother about my fears, about like, I don't know if I would like the work, if I could find a job that would make me happy to be there. I don't know if people talk about being alone and stuff like that. And then he was like, yeah, but you don't like your job now, and you're alone now. You're unhappy now. Yeah. You don't like where you live now. I'm like, I guess that's true. I could feel all of those same feelings, but be in Japan mm-hmm. and be able to walk outside and be in Japan.
Yeah.
And be able to go to the convenience store and eat in Japan.
Yeah. I mean, there's also that, there's that thing about feeling like your self-worth, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like the water bottle thing, where it's like, if
you put the egg and then you put a match in the bottle.
Yeah,
and it pulls the egg into the bottle.
Yeah, and then pressure, and then it explodes up. That's really, really
I thought it pulls the egg into the bottle.
Yeah, afterwards, and then it builds up pressure, and eventually it
shoots the bottle back out like a cannon.
Out. Yeah, it's really, really cool. And then it stinks real bad though, because you've mixed egg with now egg water. It's just really nasty. No, but it's like, think about, and what got me thinking about it was literally when we were on the top of the mountain, at the top of there, how the prices changed on the drinks. Mm-hmm. Like, usually, like, they were like 120, 130 yen, and up there they were like, like 250 or 300 yen. And I was like, same bottle of water. That's the idea, is like, if you look at a bottle of water, its value at a certain location is 120, right? And then all of a sudden you go to on an airplane where you're like, how much is this bottle of water? And I'm like, if you want the bottle, it's going to be like $5.
Yeah.
It's like, well, nothing's changed. The bottle of water is the exact same bottle of water that it was down in the airport
Mm-hmm.
or at the gas station. The only thing that's changed is the bottle of water's location.
Yeah.
And so maybe your worth is just, and your self-worth is only what it is because of where you are.
Yeah.
So if you change where you are, your self-worth is gonna feel so much more.
It's very possible. It's a good idea for sure.
For anybody wanting to go to Japan, do you have any advice for them?
Yeah. Well, you and I, we talked about like tips and tricks that we learned on TikTok and things like that, or YouTube or whatever. And a lot of them seem so silly. And then some of them are correct. But then there's some, I think, that you and I experienced that we were like, no one ever talks about that. And I thought it would be interesting to like go over things that are 100% real, some things that aren't necessarily as big of a deal, and then some things that like we notice that are never talked about, but probably are very important or important to us to share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, one of the major ones that just helped in interactions with people is like the importance of gratitude at the end of everything, of that end of every interaction. Like, we were talked about it with the guy at the coffee shop and the guy with the flower book and everywhere at a conveni everywhere. It's like at the end of his arigato gozaimasu, and it's showing this or oshides or whatever, this gratification or gratitude towards what they've done immediately like helps the situation progress. It helps that interaction so much more. So that's something that I would definitely say, like, if you're trying to like speak Japanese and you can't, like, if you've got like a small vocabulary, which most people probably would, just end it with kudasai or end it with arigato gozaimasu. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just try to be as respectful as you can.
Right.
It seems like a no-brainer, but like you don't always do that here. Always do it there.
Well, that's a big thing is in Japan, like everyone treats other people the way I wish people would always treat me here, because everyone treats like people are treated there as with like what's the word, consideration. Everything is treated with consideration in Japan. The way like the like intercoms and stuff giving out both Japanese and English for not only for language barriers, but for also like visually impaired, things like that. The way trash is handled, the way like landscape is handled, everything is done with a consideration. Even small things that I can't remember now that we kept pointing out, like they literally did all of this just to help be more considerate of the people around them. It's crazy. But it's the same thing as like treating everyone whenever you're visiting. Think about how you can be considerate to the people that you interact with. So, especially like Americans can really overstep boundaries, and Japanese people have some pretty heavy boundaries.
Well, it's all about us. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. So, I would say like think about personal bubbles, whenever you're talking to people. I think I have always noticed how like Japanese people really like personal space. And so not overstepping people's personal bubble, not like overpowering people with your voice, talking to match other people's levels or whatever. Things like that are always super helpful. But there are some like unique ones too, like unique tips that I kind of took notice that we haven't really talked about, but the importance that even you and I missed a couple times. Signage.
Oh yeah.
everything has a sign.
Yeah.
Like they put very clear picture image signs everywhere so that even if you can't read Japanese, you can.
It's color coded, or it's something to help you with
Yeah.
the signage. Yeah.
Yeah, there are signs everywhere for every occasion. So if you are curious about something or doing something new, or even if you're not, you're like you think you're familiar, but you're don't do it that often. Look for signs. Make sure you're like just double check for signs around, because there's one thing that I realized we were doing wrong that we found out later on, and that was the bus. When we took the bus, we went in and we sat down,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't
It was
until
clearly marked.
it was clearly marked
Yeah.
for elderly, pregnant
Pregnant.
women, and I guess like I don't remember,
Disability.
yeah, disability or something. But they were the front half of the bus is made for like women and elderly and things like that, and so there's a sign, and it had all the images of like what those seats are for.
Yeah,
And
behind the seat. But
behind the seat.
we literally walked in and sat down.
Yeah,
So we
you
never.
just yeah, you don't think about it. We're
Yeah.
used to, you just sit down.
You sit down.
But I think looking back, going into new places, going into like, for instance, when we went to the other bus in
Nara, or no, the bamboo forest.
maybe wherever it was, we were supposed to go in on one side and pay, but we went in the wrong window.
Oh
We
yeah,
went in
yeah,
the wrong door.
the cat village.
That was Gotokuji, yeah.
Yeah, Gotokuji. Yeah.
And there was a sign on the ground that was like entrance.
Yeah.
So you just got to look around. Just whenever you're navigating, especially with transportation, just look around, read some, like look at the signs.
It seems very self-explanatory, but just being being aware of your surroundings.
Yeah. Well, again, you and I were I think, very conscientious, very considerate, but we still miss stuff because we're trying to navigate. We're trying to we're looking at our maps. We're trying to, and like things are different in every city. Like rules change from region to region. And so we would take what we learned from the last place and apply it to the new place. And then the rules were different.
Right.
So just taking a minute, I think, like looking back, next time I'll just take a minute to like look at the signs around me.
Totally. Another one, it's a small one, but I think that in a place like Japan where the currency they use a lot of coins is very prevalent, bring or buy a coin purse day one.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have so many coins.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I actually bought 2 coin purses while I was there.
Yeah.
Or I got one from the Live House show, and then I ended up using, and then I got the other one from the Pokemon Center. But I had my camera bag with me, my little fanny pack, so I was able to use that front little lip as my coin purse for most of the time. But if you don't have a camera, or anything like that, just get a little coin purse. Like, here's the one that I have.
There's also little coin organizers too, if you want something.
Ohio,
oh yeah,
spelled Ohio.
Yeah.
As opposed to like Ohio gozaimasu.
Yeah.
Like, that's funny.
Taking around a portable chair might be good because there isn't a lot of like public seating. So if you're going to be walking around for 20,000 miles a day or 20,000 steps a day, you might want to take a seat, and there aren't public benches or things like that. Like, you can go into a restaurant for a minute, but if you're,
yeah, there's really not. Thinking about it, there's not a lot of like public places to actually sit down.
Mm-mm. They didn't really have those. So you can take like little portable chairs. I've seen some chairs that literally fit into like a fanny pack.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know yourself and know that you will need a place to sit at some point on a long walk through traveling, then think about getting one of those.
Bring a tennis ball. Here's what I'm going to tell you. This is what I found out from mine, because I messed up my Achilles really bad on that trip, like halfway through. Basically, we were told by the guy at the airport was like, it's really common with a lot of people because of how the roads are shaped for irrigation in Japan. The roads, they're not straight, they're domed. All of them are domed. So you're walking with your ankle like this.
Right.
One of your ankles is like that always. And so eventually what a lot of people, it happened to me and a lot of people happened, is you're putting extra strain on one leg. And so that with the amount of how many miles or you're actually putting in a day and steps that you're putting in a day, depending on what kind of arches you have, your arches themselves get so stretched and so the tendons get so tight that it's a chain effect. So if your arches get really tight, and that's going to put strain on your Achilles, which puts strain on your calf, your hamstring, your glutes, your sciatic nerve, all of it. It all chains together. So bring a ball, whether it's a little racket ball or a tennis ball, or just pick one up there. And at the end of every day, when you get back to your hotel after doing all that walking, just take it on the arch of your foot and just roll that sucker back and forth for like 3 to 5 minutes, and it'll literally change your life of how good your feet and your posterior chain feels. My Achilles was still messed up for like a week and a half when I got back. Couldn't go to Muay Thai, couldn't go running, couldn't train, I couldn't do anything because it was so messed up. And my buddy Justin, who used to be a professional skateboarder, he was like, "This is what we used to do because we were same thing. We would just be putting in so many miles a day skating." And that's what he showed me. And it was like literally the next day. I was like, "Oh my God," you know what I mean? So, tennis ball.
I think some people are welcome to disagree with this one, but I think I realized that it is super unnecessary to pack several outfits. I mean, not just because it was cold, but I honestly think that taking a bunch of clothes, like a bunch of different outfits, is pointless because you're visiting a different area every single day. So like trying to look different every day or having a different outfit, it doesn't matter. Like no one's gonna see you and be like, you're wearing the same thing you were wearing yesterday, because you're in literally a different city every day, or
Yeah. Well, I think that also does depend on what time of the year you go. Because if you're going in the summer, there's no way in hell that knowing how much I sweat, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be able to wear the same outfit like twice.
Right.
Like I'm going to wear my pair of shorts and they're going to be fucksville at the end of the day.
Well, that's what I was going to say was, if I would recommend looking at to see if where you're staying has laundry, because 2 of the 3 places that we stayed, or 2 of the 4 places that we stayed, did have a washer dryer hookup.
Yeah.
So
true.
we washed our clothes,
Yeah.
And if you stay somewhere that always has one, then you're going to be fine washing your clothes, So just having like 3 or 4 or whatever outfits rather than 7 to 9, I think I wore the same outfit. I wore 2 outfits the entire trip. I didn't sweat because it was 30 degrees, but I took enough socks to change every day, took enough underwear to change every day.
Yeah.
But I mean, my shirt, my jacket, and all that stayed the same every day. And I had 4 other outfits that stayed in my suitcase the whole time. That probably would have saved a lot of weight and a lot of space, So I think, it depends on you, and it depends on what you're doing. There might be some dress up occasions or whatever, depending on what you plan. But if you're like us and you're just going to explore and you're not planning on doing anything like that, I think 3 outfits and wash, 3 outfits with washing opportunities and a full, take enough underwear and socks, but you can wash your shirt if it gets a little sweaty,
Please wash your shirt.
Anything else? There's little ones, I definitely, when people say don't eat in public kind of thing, don't walk and eat.
Yeah.
Typically,
here's what I would say.
Yeah.
Before you go, YouTube and Google and all that is your friend. So for some stuff, especially if you're going to a place like Japan, which is very different from Western culture, literally just like YouTube, culture norms to avoid going to wherever you're going to, just as to get a general idea of things that you should probably do. Because I can get pretty loud, with the natural tone of my voice, especially if I'm excited And it's like, being in Japan, I am going to be excited because I'm stoked to be there. But there's a time and a place why you're there to do that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know, you don't know. So just try to do a little research.
Yeah.
Before
But
you go.
also, some of those videos sometimes take those things a little too far. And I think it can make you feel a little too like worried and like too self-conscious, when sometimes I notice that things aren't quite as serious as what I had heard, you know? Like, for instance, not talking on a train. There were moments where trains were absolutely silent.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's clear people don't want to hear a bunch of noise on this train. But then there were other trains where people were chatting, and like locals were chatting.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things where I would recommend, you know, you learn about what is kind of common or what to look out for, but also look around you when you're visiting and see what locals are doing and how the general population is acting.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea of what's appropriate and what's not, or what's not appropriate.
Yeah.
Same with like the eating or drinking while walking. Like, we didn't see a single person doing any of that, you know?
Aside from the Australians.
Yeah, exactly. But everyone else, you eat by the bin, you know, you eat like outside the booth that you buy the street food or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you throw it away. But then there are other things that were a little more lenient, you know, that I saw, like the whole like going up one side of the escalator kind of thing. Like, yeah, there were moments where clearly everyone was doing the same thing, and then there were other times where like literally no one's following that guideline. So I think just like keep an eye out, you know, stay conscientious.
Okay, everybody. That's going to be it for this episode of the Born2BNerd Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to see what we're up to, you can check our LinkedIn at the bottom. If you have any suggestions or tips or thoughts about what we talked about today for going to Japan, just light up them comments. Just hit them on in there. Tell us what you think. Lance, are you going to be doing any streaming anytime soon?
It'll be a few days, but yeah, I'll be streaming. I have a 7-day break coming up, and I'll probably be streaming some during that time.
Okay, so look up for Born2BNerd on Twitch. If you want to follow some fun moto vlog stuff, you can check out my channel, Throttle Fox Moto Photo, for that kind of content. I said the C word, gross. And yeah, other than that, we'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah. We're gonna have a lot of clips from this on TikTok, and YouTube Shorts and Instagram. So if you don't have time to listen to a whole podcast, I don't know why I would be telling you this at the end of the podcast. But you can catch shorts of any of our podcasts on any of those other apps if you ever miss anything. So
yeah,
feel free to follow in all the other social media outlets.
So thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.